Hi. So I'm a product manager with Harman International. My name is Sunil Karanjikar. What I'm showing you today is our latest DSP offerings along with the softwares that go with it. So just to quickly start, we have two different processor models over here. We have a 512P and a 256P. And then we have two expanders for audio in and out. We have a 32E and a 16E. The 512, which is our biggest core processor over here, we have 512 channels of Dante. We have a 1 terabyte SSD on board for media playback. It's got 160 AEC channels and 64 VoIP lines for playback. The 256 has exactly half of the above, so it's got 80 AEC channels, 32 VoIP channels, 32 VoIP lines, and it has a 512 GB SSD for media playback. There is, from an I/O perspective, the 512 has two dual Dante ports for up to 512 channels of Dante, and a dual redundant H control port for control of the device. The 256 just has one pair of Dante I/O and then one pair of redundant control I/O on the back as well. As standard, both the processors have 8 fully flexible GPIO. So the GPIO can either be inputs or outputs, or they can be configured either as analog 0 to 12 or digital binary 0 and 5. The two expanders are the 32E and the 16E. The number before talks about the number of Dante channels. So the 32 supports 32 Dante channels. The 16 does 16 Dante channels. The 32 has 3 sets of I/O on the back. We have a dedicated input block of 8 inputs, a dedicated output block of 8 inputs, of 8 outputs, and a block of 8 flexible I/O. Each port can either be configured as an analog or digital, and the flex can either be configured as input or output as well. The bottom one has 3 sets of 4 inputs, 4 outputs, and 4 flexible I/O on the 16E. All of this can be controlled via our new software suite. The software suite is called the AVX suite, and currently it comes with 2 basic applications, AVX Architect and AVX Control. Within AVX Architect, we have what we're calling the infinite canvas. So with the infinite canvas, you can basically add as many devices to a particular project file. We're not limiting the number of devices on a project file that you can do. We have 2 major views, what we call the system view and the virtual view. The system view is where you actually put a physical representation of a device. So that's more like a blueprint, like an AV drawing, if you will. And then we have a secondary section, a secondary view that we call the virtual view. The virtual view is where you actually draw all your DSP and do the inter-DSP connections, routing, and programming. One of the things I forgot to mention with these devices is both the processors include the AMX Muse technology built into the device as well, and we'll see some advantages of that. The second part of AVX suite is what we call AVX Control. This is the application we use to basically design custom control panels for operating and commissioning or end use by the users. You can draw a layout that you can see on all of these devices over here, so a bunch of faders, source selections, mutes, meters, and the likes. And one of the new things we're doing with AVX Control is that the app runs on multiple platforms. So we're showing you on this side over here, it runs on a Windows computer, it can run on an iOS, on a Mac. It's running on an iPad and running on an Android tablet as well. And all of these are synchronized, so if I would change something on one of these devices, you're going to see it reflect on each of the other devices as well. So that's, in a nutshell, everything about Omni. Thank you for listening.